How and why could the Moonbreon fall in price? That's what we're talking about today. And I think that this particular card does a good job of illustrating how and why investing in Modern can be very speculative and very volatile, depending on what happens with reprints, what happens with popularity, what happens when the eyes of the people shift forward and leave those sets behind. What happens when that happens? Obviously, everything that I'm going to say in this video is very speculative. I don't know if the Moonbreon is going to keep skyrocketing in price or come down, but we can use some past examples to kind of illustrate why I think personally it will see a retrace at some point. I don't know when that will be, but at some point we will see the card come down. I personally wouldn't be buying into Moonbreon at $1,500. If I had one right now, I would be selling it. So that's just my personal opinion, but let's jump into the examples and I'll show you guys and I'll try and explain through why I think that the Moonbreon is very similar to the card that I'm about to show. The full art Charizard Shiny GX from Hidden Fates. I think this card has a lot in common with the Moonbreon. Some would say that Evolving Skies is the best Sword and Shield set that's come out in this era of Pokemon cards. And a lot of people, before Evolving Skies was coming out, was saying that Hidden Fates was the best modern set ever. Some people saying that it's the best set ever. I think that in terms of set popularity, Hidden Fates is the best comparison to Evolving Skies. Now, Moonbreon is obviously the chase right now of Evolving Skies. It didn't start that way. The Rayquaza VMAX was actually more expensive for a little while when the set first came out, I think a month or two maybe, and then the Moonbreon pulled ahead, the Umbreon pulled ahead in terms of popularity and price. The Charizard Shiny GX was always the pull of this Hidden Fates set, and right when this set came out, everyone wanted to pull this thing. It was a few $100s. I remember watching Tim the Tatman open a bunch of Hidden Fates packs and saying that it was like a $300 card or something like that, and he actually pulled it, which was super cool to see. This particular card, I think in terms of popularity, in terms of the set that it's in, I think that we're looking at the most popular sets of each era and the most popular chase card of each era. Now, some might say that this card is more infamous. Now, I agree. I do think that the Burning Shadows Charizard is more infamous. So why am I not comparing the Burning Shadows Charizard to the Umbreon VMAX Alt-Art? While the Burning Shadows Charizard may have been more similar in terms of pull rate to the Umbreon VMAX, very hard card to pull, the print condition of Burning Shadows was awful. And that is why I don't want to compare this card to Umbreon VMAX, because the gem rate is completely different. As you can see here, I've put together just basic maths. I've got the Umbreon VMAX Alt-Art. There are already over 3,000 total graded of the Umbreon VMAX Alt-Art. And that's, I think, within a year of that set coming out, maybe a little over a year at this point. And down here, we have the Charizard Rainbow GX. There's also over 3,000 total graded, but we need to look at the gem rate. And that is how many of those graded cards are getting PSA 10. How many of them are achieving the highest grade? As you can see here, Umbreon, 81.5% gem rate. 81% of the Umbreons being sent to PSA are getting a PSA 10, whereas the Rainbow GX, 21%, 20.9% gen rate. Only 20% of them, of the total cards being sent in, are getting a 10. That is a massive difference. The Umbreon has 4 times the gem rate. So I don't think it's comparable, because not only do you have the rarity of being pulled from a pack, but you have the conditional rarity that doesn't exist with the Umbreon VMAX. So they're both popular cards and they're both hard to pull, but that condition rarity is huge for what the price of that card is actually going to be at the end of the day, because if you can't get a lot of PSA 10s, then PSA 10 prices are going to hold more of a premium. So let's go back to the shiny Charizard GX. Hidden Fates came out in 2019. So 8,000 of these cards have been graded since 2019, and it has a 54% gem rate. So the gem rate is still like 60% of the gem rate of Umbreon VMAX. Umbreon VMAX is extremely easy to grade right now. So there is still a pretty large disparity, but it's a lot less. So that's why I think that this particular one It may not be as hard to pull, but I think in terms of conditional rarity, I think it's in a closer, at least, ballpark than the Rainbow GX. And arguably, I think the demand for this card would probably be higher than the Rainbow GX because it's a shiny Charizard, just in my opinion, I guess. So since I think that this is the best kind of comparison that we can make to the current Umbreon VMAX situation, I want to take a look at its price history in PSA 10. So let's take a look. We can start here in September of 2019. So this is very close to when Hidden Fates actually came out. The PSA 10 right out the gate was $1,340, which was a lot. It was quite a lot. Then it went way down because a lot more were being put into the market. The demand was not justifying the price, so the price came down to meet demand. Now, we can see where the boom happened. Late 2020 into early 2021, and even a little bit into kind of later 2021. You can see that the card peaks at $1,800-ish, $2,000, $1,800. It peaks at some really high price points. And then I think around here is when Evolving Skies comes out. And the hype around Evolving Skies, as you remember, was hype. It is a great set. It's got all those evolutions. It's got the Rayquaza. It's got the Dragonite. It is an insane set. The focus, the POV of the collector shifted. So where everyone was talking about Hidden Fates, best set ever, best modern set ever, it shifted to, oh, Evolving Skies. Look at that. That's awesome. Look at all those alternate arts. Those are sick. Beautiful. Awesome. I can actually get this in store for $4 a pack. I'm going to go buy that because that's really cool. And once that happened, you could see a shift in Evolving Skies prices as well. Not even just in the Charizard, but in most of the other cards as well. PSA 9s, PSA 10s, you started to see them come down because the popularity of the set, the eyes shifted. And so demand shifted. Demand shifted to Evolving Skies and away from Hidden Fates. So the singles saw a dip. The sealed product saw a little bit of a dip because it did get a reprint at some point, but it stayed pretty steady at like 120 to 150 in ETB because it still is a popular set. But you could see the single prices really kind of start to come down. So August is when Evolving Skies came out. So we heard about Evolving Skies, or we got EV Heroes probably in July or June. And we can see that the PSA 10 graded of the shiny Charizard GX took a pretty large dip from 18, 16, 15, and then we see it come down to like the 1,000 mark, and then after Evolving Skies releases, we see it come down to the 800 mark, and now we see it pretty much settling between $750 to $810 for a PSA 10. The hype in which this set reached maximum popularity and everyone wanted to open Hidden Fates and everyone was back into the hobby and it was evolutions in Hidden Fates, that happened here. All of that hype. $1,500 to $2,000. Now we're at $800 because the POV shifted. The popularity of the set shifted to the newest, shiniest, coolest thing, which right now is Evolving Skies. So right now we are seeing the Moonbreon in this trajectory, in this right here. And I'm not saying that it won't continue to go up. It might continue to go up. But I just think that when that POV shifts, when the popularity of that card shifts, when the YouTubers are talking about the new EXs or the new Gold Stars or the new whatever that's going to come out in Scarlet Violet that we're all going to get hype about, the new shiny alternate arts, the new gold alternate arts, the new whatever rarity they introduce, there's going to be something that is going to shift the POV away from the Sword and Shield alternate arts and into whatever the hottest, newest thing is. And that is when we'll see whether or not the Moonbreon can hang on and stay at this crazy $1,500 price point it is at now. I suspect that it will continue to go up until that set comes out. That will shift the narrative. But right now, the narrative for every YouTube channel, the narrative for every Pokemon live stream, the narrative for everything is the Moonbreon, Evolving Skies, the Moonbreon, Evolving Skies. I don't think it'll shift until the popularity shifts, until people get hype about something new, something shiny, something else that comes out. Let me know in the comments below if you agree, disagree, whether or not you think we will see a retrace or not. Obviously, this is all speculation. I'm not saying that this is going to happen. I think that this is a good comparison. You know, we'll see what happens. I'm excited to see what happens. This is a big thing right now. I'm happy that all of these modern cards are super expensive, because that just means that the demand for Pokemon is really high, and that means that the community continues to grow and that we're in a really healthy place. So for me, as a person who buys and sells and flips and does all that stuff, it's great because people want cards. If people didn't want cards, if the demand was super low, then I'd be in a tough spot in terms of my business, my little side venture. So I'm happy that cards like this are exploding, that they're generating more hype, but I just think don't get caught holding the bag. If something seems irrational, if something seems odd about a situation, if something seems pumped by YouTubers, by, you know, people talking about it, by kind of artificially creating this demand that wouldn't naturally exist, then, you know, just think about it. Just open your mind. Think about it. And if you just like the card and you're willing to spend $1,500, more power to you, man. But it's not the play that I would be making right now personally.